I wish that every Black sheep knew that your route to safety is through your self-worth. I recently made a video called Fix Your Guarded Heart, and in this video, I talked about how Black sheep have had to close off of our hearts. We've had to close off our hearts to connection and to new people and to trust because of our experiences in childhood. We were not listened to, we were not heard, we were not appreciated in the way that we deserved to be, and because of that, we had to start withdrawing and withholding ourselves. And in that video, I also shared how to start opening up your heart and a somatic routine to help you reconnect with heart openers. And since watching that back, I've been thinking a lot about what does it mean to find safety? Like, if we ultimately at our core, in order to open up, in order to trust again, in order to share ourselves with the world in an authentic way, we need to believe that we're safe. So what does safety look like? And through my 10 years of healing and even working with other people in this space, but more than anything, my own journey, I've learned that the only safety you can truly rely on and truly build your foundation upon as a Black sheep, as the cycle breaker of your family, is your self-worth. If you're the Black sheep, the cycle breaker, or the parentified eldest daughter, you're in the right place. Welcome to Becoming Enough, empowering Black sheep and cycle breakers to remember their worth. I'm Roshni, your host, and the founder of Black Sheep Experience. Through coaching, spiritual offerings, and guided resources, I teach you how to regain your sense of self-worth after surviving your toxic childhood. Visit blacksheepexperience.com to work together one-on-one or to find additional resources. Your experience as the Black sheep is unique, and it's time we finally started to talk about it. Welcome to a new video. My name is Roshni. I'm a self-worth coach for Black sheep and cycle breakers. I'm also a professional tarot reader, and all of the work that I do is really rooted in liberation. It's rooted in us living more authentically, us allowing ourselves to be more free, us allowing ourselves to not be held back by our past and our traumas and our BS from childhood and actually create a life that is worth living. And now in this day and age, this work is more important than ever. So going back to this idea of self-worth being safety, we have to first understand what self-worth is. And in the most concise way, self-worth is really when you feel worthy, when you feel like enough outside of just your present circumstances. And that can be a whole nuanced conversation that can also go into structure and policies and politics and all of that. But at the core, if you believe that you are enough and you lose money or you lose out on something or an opportunity or a career move, you still believe that you are enough. If you believe that you're enough and you go through a breakup or something heart-wrenching happens or you lose a friend, it doesn't mean that these emotions don't come up. It doesn't mean that you're just numb to all of it. You are fully feeling it, but that doesn't change your core sense of identity in knowing that you are enough as you are. And that is why having self-worth and having high self-worth is so important. We all have self-worth in one way or another, whether it's low, whether it's high, we all have a sense of self-worth. We all have a subconscious script that is running in the back of our mind, that is connecting us with people, that is connecting us with places and opportunities. And that script is this belief around what you deserve, around who you are, around what's familiar to you. And if we don't address that deeper script to actually question why we believe what we believe, this can run our entire lives going unchecked. But self-worth is really this foundational belief that we carry within ourselves around our worthiness, around being enough, and knowing that you're not enough because you have a certain job. You're not enough because you're a mom or a dad. You're not enough because of a certain title that you have. You're not enough because of the relationship that you're in or the people that you're around or what's in your bank account. You believe that you are enough because you see yourself. You are able to see who you are, your authenticity, your light, your uniqueness. you have an idea of understanding who you are. And even though that's going to change and evolve throughout your life, you see the core of worthiness just within that, without being attached to perfection or a certain opportunity or a certain paycheck. And when we go through life and things change as they inevitably do, we have to be comfortable not in the fact that we can control those changes, but in the fact that we are still rooted in ourselves. There was a time where I lost my job, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was 3 months before this massive global pandemic, right before all of that hit. And so I lost my job. I felt so like I genuinely felt like I didn't have any worth left. I felt like I didn't have a place on this earth because I was taught that my worthiness came from performing, it came from productivity, it came from being able to earn money. All of my identity was wrapped up in that. And it wasn't even a job I cared about. Like, I saw through the fact that this wasn't my career or something that was gonna, be a part of my life for my entire life, but my worthiness was still rooted in what that job gave me, which was security and a place to perform and a place to keep trying and a place to earn and meet these certain goals and to keep growing and moving. All of that is how I also got through my toxic childhood. I performed and got good grades, and I, got up on stages that I didn't want to be on. I did all these things because it made other people happy, because it gave other people bragging rights over me, because it allowed me to be okay for a night or for a little bit of time. Or it was something that other people forced on me because me being out there and me shining is what made them look good to everyone else. And so through that constant need to perform and be and perfect and show up as this version of myself that wasn't true, that's what I carried on into adulthood. That's what I knew. And I was still working on building this connection with my family and wanting to give them something to be proud of and wanting to offer up all of myself to these institutions and these people and these places so that I could feel like enough. And so when I lost that job, I bottomed out. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who I am. I felt like I lost everything. And since then, I've purposely left a job. And even that, like, I felt in some ways this weird feeling of like when you're unemployed, you're not going somewhere every day. You're kind of disconnected. You feel a little detached from like your role in society. And those things were coming up for me, but I still knew that I was enough. At that point, I knew who I was. I'd spent years in between these two times working on myself and starting new hobbies and learning about myself and digging deeper into my business and my purpose and my offerings and connecting with other people as much as I could. And even through the fogginess and the haze of being lost, I was still finding myself. I was actively creating myself. And so in those years in between losing one job and leaving another, I wound up in the same experience, which was being unemployed and not knowing what was next and feeling a little foggy and a little confused. But the two experiences were completely different. In one, I could barely get out of bed. I was struggling so much. I couldn't think anything positive. I just lost it. And in the other experience, I kept growing. I kept pushing. I kept opening myself up to new opportunities. And regardless of whether things were working out, and I would still get disappointed if I got a rejection letter after applying to a job, I would still get frustrated, when things weren't working out or when I was seeing the money in my bank account dwindle. Like, those things were scary and they were very real. And there was a lot of anxiety at the time, naturally so, because very real things were happening. But there was a difference in how I spoke to myself and how I connected with myself and how I talked to myself. And in the second experience, I had these tools of somatic regulation, and I'm still building these tools and working on them, but I had a lot more in my pocket. I had this new connection to tarot and spirituality at the time. I was talking to my guides as much as I could. I was truly trying to live my purpose. And I see now that those exact moves and that exact trust is what got me to where I am today. But that's not what this story is about. It's just showing the difference between the same situation, being unemployed, and how differently having high self-worth can actually influence those experiences. When you are able to keep your connection with yourself, even if that changes or evolves, that is going to be your true safety net. Because as Black sheep, we don't have a real safety net. One of my dreams in life has always been to travel abroad and to go from place to place, or to just live, kind of like this nomadic lifestyle. But I never could, because I never had a home to go back to in between. I didn't have a place to land where I could be somewhere without answers. In order to be in that place, I had to have all the right answers. I had to know exactly what I was doing. There couldn't be any questions about my life or where I was going. And that's very South Asian and very unrealistic, right? Adding the experience of being an immigrant and all these other things, it adds so much more pressure into just this entire experience of your parents or your family needing all of these things from you, and needing you to perform, and needing you to make money, and needing you to succeed in all of these ways. And so if I'm trying to explore the world or travel, that's seen as floundering. That's seen as being a failure. That's seen as like I could not be in this in-between state in that place. And so even the process of having these dreams kind of die off, like that's been its own whole thing. And there's so much more I could talk to you about with all of this, but when we don't have a safety net, when we don't have a physical safety net, an emotional safety net, a financial safety net, we really have to have so much more pressure on ourselves to be okay at all times. And that's why we reach to other things to remind us that we're okay. And for some Black sheep, that looks like living the exact same routine and living beneath your means, which is, a good thing, but still like not expanding, right? We want to stifle ourselves, and we want to kind of just live in this tiny bubble and create this like shell for ourselves that we can call a life and call home, and never, ever, ever leave that because it's too scary to do so. And for other Black sheep, you are, expanding and going here and going there, but you don't have that route to come back to. You don't have that like sense of true safety that's willing to hold you. You become attached to the travel partners that you have or the romantic partners that you have, and then those things end and you feel like you're broken all over again, and you have to try and repair and heal and get yourself back to where you were, but you're in this constant phase of starting over. And every story is different. There's a lot of other ways it could look for Black sheep, but when we don't have a safety net, we have to look to ourselves. And yes, we can put pressure on ourselves to perform financially and to have these incredible careers and to build a family and to force some sort of stability. But all of that can still change. Your job is not going to be your sense of self-worth. It's never going to give you that feeling deep down of knowing that you are enough. You also shouldn't be a parent demanding that your kids make you feel enough all the time. That's like not the point of being a parent, and that's more than likely what your parents did to make you feel the way that you feel now. Even with our partners, we can love our partners and build a life with them and just create something so beautiful with them, but we cannot leave it to them to carry our enoughness. Of course, they're going to speak life into us and give us pep talks and encourage us and listen to us. And that's what a good partner should do. But I can't be the source of my partner's self-worth. And my partner can't do that for me either. And we shouldn't expect that from one another. We have a sense of responsibility over ourselves. And one of the ways that Black sheep can really go down this sliding hill is not taking ownership of our lives. We couldn't control how bad our past was. We couldn't control the hands that we've been dealt, but we have at a certain point to take ownership of it. We have to take ownership of our lives no matter how bad it was and no matter how much of it we couldn't control. There's a certain point where we are adults and we do make our own decisions, and we do need to take ownership of where we are, or at least take some sort of ownership over where we're going. So no matter how much we're craving that sense of safety and that sense of emotional support, the only way that someone cannot take that away from you is if you find it within yourself. And that is why self-worth is our biggest and most important sense of safety as a Black sheep. Your relationship with yourself, your belief in yourself, your communication with yourself, your willingness to look at yourself in the mirror, to understand where you are, to even meet the issues or the mistakes that you have with a sense of compassion rather than shame. Those are the literal things that no one else can take away from you. And that is why there is this conversation about power and about ownership and about returning to the self, because this is the thing that you can actually rely on. You can't have all your eggs in these external baskets and then when they're taken away, feel like you don't have any sense of self anymore. Your self-worth is your biggest safety net. Your self-worth will always have your back. Your self-worth will help you through moments where things are completely unknown. And along with that comes self-awareness and self-trust and self-love. But all of these things come together in order to, again, create this relationship with yourself where you are able to be your own container, where you're able to pull yourself back in. And if this is the kind of work that you're like, okay, how do I get there? How do I do that? Like, I'm interested in what you're talking about. I'm a black sheep. I'm a cycle breaker. What do I do now? The Self-Worth Blueprint is exactly the course that I created for someone like you. I created it for every black sheep, every eldest daughter, every cycle breaker who's ready to work on their self-worth once and for all. And there's a few sections in this course that is created to be fully comprehensive. So there's a part in it where I'm teaching about self-worth and where that actually connected to your toxic parent and how that is informing your self-worth and your decision-making today. And then on top of that teaching, I also included a companion workbook, and that companion workbook connects to your day-to-day life now. Because I can teach and I can speak things, on video for you all day long, but if you're not sure how it relates to your actual day-to-day life, then you can just walk away from the video maybe learning something, but not necessarily changing your life, maybe not getting that final piece of how does this fit in for me. So this interactive workbook takes you through every section of the teaching portion, but connects it to your life through journal prompts, exercises, even forms of communication that I encourage throughout the workbook. And then on top of that, you also get a 1-hour EFT session specifically on self-worth and being the black sheep. So that EFT tapping brings the body into it. It brings somatics into it, but you're also speaking life into yourself. You're giving yourself an avenue to share from within without shame. And if you don't know what EFT is, I actually break down every single thing you need to know about EFT to do rounds for yourself in this course. And I also included an additional list of self-worth affirmations that you can pick and choose from to build your own EFT routines going forward. So you're literally learning a lifelong skill in this course. And you also get a 1-hour somatic movement routine. So this is accessibility friendly, it's depression friendly, it's not a lot of movement, it's not a lot of jumping up and down, but it is slowing down, intentional movement that allows you to reconnect with your heart space, allows you to reconnect with yourself. And I tried to include as many ways that are accessible, as many different adaptations that you can make to the movements depending on what's comfortable for your body. If you're struggling with the chronic illness or if you have certain mobility issues, I tried to account for that as much as I possibly could throughout the video, and you'll hear me constantly referencing that. But I really wanted something comprehensive for you to be able to take a bite out and chew on it and live with this and grow with this material. And the best part is that this course is only $50 because I want it to be accessible. I want people to actually have this work and use it. I'm not sitting here trying to create a $2,000-$3,000 workshop for 4 people who happen to be able to afford it. I genuinely want to make change because I want to see you grow. And I've seen what working on my self-worth has done for me. It has truly changed my life. And this is what I want for you too, because it doesn't have to be behind a massive paywall. Like, I'm genuinely so passionate about that. And I get so heated when I think about how inaccessible the wellness and healing community can be at times, and I genuinely wanted to put something out there that is a true labor of love from my heart and soul and my own healing journey, for you to be able to connect with. That shouldn't make you feel like you are struggling to get there, or like you can't even get through the doors. And if $50 is inaccessible for you, I also have a payment plan for it. That's 3 payments of $15. So it's 3 payments over 3 months of $15. And those are the ways that you can access this course. So it's going to be on blacksheepexperience.com, my website. I also have self-worth coaching sessions there if you want to work one-on-one with me. I have one-on-one tarot readings available as well. But yeah, I'm really passionate about this work, and I want to hear if this video resonated with you. Was there anything in this that really touched you? And if there was, then please let me know in the comments below. It helps me create better content for you. It helps me understand like what you're looking for as well, so that I can create that. If you felt like you're at home here, if you felt like you resonated with this, if you want to stick around and learn more, please subscribe and join the chosen family. I love you all so, so much. And remember that you're worthy, whether you believe it or not. Bye. Thanks for tuning in today, Black Sheep. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and share it with your chosen family. Visit blacksheepexperience.com to book a self-worth coaching session, tarot reading, or to enroll in the self-worth blueprint for Black Sheep and Cycle Breakers. Follow Black Sheep Experience on Instagram to stay tapped into upcoming events and resources for the Black Sheep Collective. Take good care of yourself and your community, and I'll see you next week.